You log onto a website to order like a bulk pack of paper towels, and suddenly that exact same shipping logistics company is aggressively buying up American culture. They are actively seizing control of an elite college basketball team while simultaneously holding internal boardroom discussions to reboot the Apprentice franchise with Donald Trump Jr. sitting in the firing chair.
Tracking the raw business and sports data across the Wall Street Journal, Variety, Fox News, CBS Sports, and ESPN exposes a massive corporate maneuver. Amazon Prime Video is completely rewriting the rulebook for controlling consumer screen time. They're deploying massive checkbooks to acquire exclusive broadcasting rights to Duke College basketball.
Just to be crystal clear for you listening, we aren't looking at this through a political lens today, left or right. We are exclusively analyzing the undeniable business math that Amazon uses to justify these multi-million-dollar investments.
Following the money requires stripping away the political noise. Amazon seeks guaranteed audiences based on proven mathematical metrics. They bypassed traditional television networks entirely by signing a first-of-its-kind enterprise partnership to broadcast 3 marquee Duke basketball games.
Duke faces UConn in Las Vegas on November 25th.
Reigning national champion Michigan is also on that schedule for Madison Square Garden on December 21st, plus Gonzaga in Detroit on February 20th.
The ACC already holds an ironclad long-term television rights deal with ESPN. A single university stepping outside that massive corporate contract to sign a side deal with a tech giant requires a massive legal loophole.
Geography dictates the boundaries of those broadcast rights. The ACC media contract explicitly defines territorial jurisdiction based on the physical location of its member schools.
Wait, Las Vegas and Detroit do not host any ACC member universities.
The conference simply does not hold default broadcast jurisdiction in those specific Western and Midwestern territories.
It honestly feels like a teenager realizing that if they just step 1 foot over the county line, their parents' curfew technically doesn't apply. They exploited a literal map to secure independent corporate funding.
Payouts validate that strategy immediately. Duke's opponents will receive north of $500,000 just for participating in these matchups. Duke acts as the primary organizer and Prime Video's corporate partner.
They stand to make significantly more through massive name, image, and likeness opportunities tied directly to the broadcast.
The incoming revenue share cap sits at approximately $20.5 million for the 2025-2026 season. Colleges suddenly have a strict legal limit on what they can pay players directly out of their own athletic department budgets.
They desperately need a backdoor corporate pipeline like Amazon to make up the difference to stay competitive in recruiting. Earning $500,000 for a single weekend road trip feels like a college kid discovering they get paid a Wall Street executive salary just to show up to 3 mandatory guest lectures.
Programs must find unregulated cash flow to outbid rival schools while remaining technically compliant with the College Sports Commission. The $20.5 million cap is a hard ceiling for university-distributed funds.
Amazon's enterprise partnership provides Duke with a private financial vehicle entirely separate from the university ledger. The players operate as independent contractors, promoting the games directly under the Prime Video corporate umbrella.
Jon Scheyer is aggressively restructuring how elite college basketball is scheduled. He deliberately orchestrates brutal, non-conference schedules to elevate the program's standalone value in the television market.
Scheyer treats November and December like a hostile takeover tour. Last season alone, the Blue Devils faced Michigan, Florida, Michigan State, Arkansas, and Kansas outside of their standard conference play. Only one of those major matchups took place at home.
Pushing this specific Amazon deal forward took months of strategy. The Vegas matchup against UConn at T-Mobile Arena operates as a highly anticipated revenge game. Duke and UConn engaged in negotiations for the better part of a year to schedule each other.
Scheyer opted to keep moving forward with the game, even after Duke blew a 19-point Elite Eight lead to UConn. That loss was devastating.
Caden Boozer's critical turnover capped that collapse, leading directly to Braylon Mullins hitting the game-winning three-pointer in the final second. Both Boozer and Mullins return to their respective schools next year.
I have to aggressively challenge this entire scheduling strategy. Artificially creating Final Four level matchups in November and throwing them behind a streaming paywall rips the sudden death magic completely out of the sport. You strip the highest stakes drama out of the spring tournament, force it into the preseason, and restrict access entirely to retail subscribers.
Universities simply do not care about the magic of March anymore. The traditional NCAA tournament model distributes revenue evenly across participating conferences.
Throwing these massive non-conference games onto a private streaming platform disrupts that established broadcast hierarchy. It guarantees massive upfront cash injections for Duke regardless of how the team performs in the spring.
Other event organizers pursued Duke for major non-conference games, but nobody could match the Amazon payouts. Duke, UConn, Michigan, and Gonzaga are all projected to be preseason top 10 teams.
The Gonzaga game in Detroit intentionally aligns with the city hosting the men's Final Four later that season. They secure arena familiarity months before the actual tournament tips off.
ESPN recognized that exact threat to their market share and forced a legal compromise to protect their territory. The Madison Square Garden game presented a massive jurisdictional problem because Syracuse is an ACC team located in New York.
Wait, that single geographic fact gives ESPN a technical, contractual claim to jurisdiction over ACC games played anywhere in that state.
Duke essentially traded future hostages to appease ESPN's lawyers. The official press release explicitly stated that in exchange for the flexibility to participate in this Prime Video series, Duke committed to play in select additional ESPN-owned and operated neutral site events across the 2027, 2028, and 2028-2029 seasons.
Mortgaging their future schedule clears the legal runway for this Amazon deal today. The Michigan game at Madison Square Garden serves as a blockbuster rematch of a major battle in Washington, D.C. that Duke won 73-72. Madison Square Garden will also host the 2027 East Regional Semifinals and Final.
Compounding the venue's broadcast value exponentially drives these corporate decisions. Amazon is applying this exact playbook across radically different cultural sectors. Through their acquisition of MGM, they now hold the production rights to The Apprentice.
Tech giants view college basketball fans and reality television audiences as the exact same thing, isolated data nodes of guaranteed viewership.
MGM previously purchased a majority stake in reality show impresario Mark Burnett's production company. Burnett launched massive foundational reality hits like Survivor, currently in his 50th season, and The Amazing Race before creating The Apprentice in 2004.
The original show ran for 15 seasons on NBC. Would-be executives competed in high-stress challenges for a job at the Trump Organization.
The Wall Street Journal and Variety report that Amazon MGM Studios head Mike Hopkins, along with other senior executives, began internal discussions about a reboot early last year. Those talks started precisely around the time Donald Trump was sworn in for his second term.
Amazon possesses limitless resources to build any business competition show from scratch. Taking on a polarizing political brand right now makes zero traditional sense. They risk massive subscriber alienation over a dormant property.
Built-in audience metrics eliminate the development risk entirely. Streaming platforms do not operate on traditional network logic. Amazon recently released a documentary titled Melania, directed by Brett Ratner, during the weeks leading up to the inauguration.
Ratner is primarily known for directing the Rush Hour films. That documentary was universally lambasted by film critics across the board.
Grossing $7 million domestically broke the decade-long record for a nonfiction feature opening.
A $40 million biopic drawing record nonfiction box office numbers proves the absolute viability of that specific audience demographic. Evaluating the success of that documentary relies strictly on analyzing box office data and streaming metrics from our sources, completely detached from political ideology. The raw numbers dictate the programming slate.
Amazon calculates subscriber acquisition cost based on these existing behavioral patterns. They do not care about critical acclaim or cultural prestige. They hunt exclusively for guaranteed subscriber engagement.
They utilize that proven $7 million box office data to justify reviving a 20-year-old reality television property. The new version of The Apprentice requires a specific heir to control the boardroom. The Amazon reboot targets Donald Trump Jr. for the host chair.
He possesses heavy historical ties to the franchise. He previously served as a frequent stand-in boardroom advisor for the original show, sitting alongside Trump executives Carolyn Kepcher and George Ross.
President Trump publicly addressed these specific casting rumors during an Oval Office executive order signing. He told a Fox News reporter that his son is a good guy who has a little charisma going.
The reporting contains a massive contradiction regarding the preferred host. Donald Trump Sr. told Variety's co-editor-in-chief in 2024 that his actual first choice to take over the show back in 2015 was Ivanka, not Don Jr.
The revelation surfaced in Ramin Satuda's 2024 book, Apprentice in Wonderland. Trump Sr. explicitly stated she would have been by far the best person you could hire for the role.
Amazon's official PR spokesperson pushed back on all of this. They told Variety the show is not in active development. The company claims any reporting on names of potential hosts is purely speculative.
Companies do not leak detailed internal timelines to the Wall Street Journal unless they're actively testing the waters for public reaction. They floated Don Jr.'s name specifically to gauge the subscriber response and measure the potential advertising backlash.
Franchise history proves why they must carefully test those waters before committing millions of dollars to a host. When Arnold Schwarzenegger took over The Apprentice, ratings collapsed entirely.
Schwarzenegger operated as a political moderate who voted for John Kasich in 2016. He attempted to bring a consensus-building, motivational energy to the boardroom. He fundamentally misread the required tone of the show.
The format relies entirely on ruthless, uncompromising conflict. That failure led to severe, highly publicized spats between Schwarzenegger and Trump Sr.
Trump Sr. mocked the ratings collapse at the National Prayer Breakfast. He literally asked the attendees to pray for the former California governor.
Schwarzenegger fired back on social media, suggesting they switch jobs so the public could sleep comfortably again. The entire exchange proved that the underlying tension of the brand cannot be replicated by a generic celebrity host.
The future president hosted those 186 episodes from 2004 to 2015, earning 9 Emmy nominations by turning workplace stress into primetime entertainment. The show spawned massive spin-offs, including Celebrity Apprentice and The Apprentice, Martha Stewart.
Subscribers will pay a monthly premium for that exact corporate drama. Amazon is converting existing political fame into recurring retail subscriptions. The original credits list Trump Sr. as executive producer.
The potential reboot on Prime Video signals a massive shift from traditional broadcast television relying on advertising to exclusive streaming environments relying on walled gardens. Watching 186 episodes of people fighting for a job on television feels like spending 3 straight weeks locked inside a corporate HR dispute.
Amazon views that HR dispute and the Duke basketball game as 2 identical products. They serve as loss leaders designed to keep you inside the retail ecosystem. You log in to watch a buzzer beater against UConn, you stay to watch a boardroom firing, and you end up buying your household supplies from the exact same interface.
Amazon leverages their massive capital to purchase cultural mainstays, bypassing the legacy networks entirely. They are actively dictating the future of your weekend sports viewing and your reality television drama. When a single tech entity controls the retail supply chain, the basketball court, the reality television landscape, and the boardroom, will traditional broadcast networks even exist in 10 years?